Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. It's nice to have something in attendance. We'll start off with a public hearing on the subdivision pre-application for Sagaponic Realty LLC, which is 451 Daniels Lane. We'll hear first from the attorney for the subdivision.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Brian Doyle. I appeared before you at the pre-application meeting. You'll remember I was appointed as special master in this matter by Justice Nolan on April 8th, 2025 on court order. I've reviewed the pre-application report from your engineer. Anything in it that I think is objectionable to the applicant. The map before you has not changed since our last discussion, so I'll answer any questions you have, but I hope that you will view the application favorably through today.
I'd like to thank you for getting the greenhouse removed, the Fairwood greenhouse, and the trees are down. It would be nice if they ground the stumps so that we can mow the verge. I think the stumps are up a bit high.
So if that's a condition of approval, I'll take that to the owners and tell them that that's something that they'd like out of the easement. I don't think that's a big ask.
Right, okay. The board have questions about this?
Yeah. Okay, so have you gone to the Conic Land Trust to get the review of these easements yet?
No, because we haven't done it yet because we didn't have it as a condition of approval, but once we do, I will do that along, I hope, with Mr. Egan. I don't see any reason why the land trust would object to the application. We're removing a building lot from that northwestern corner, and we're also adding another view shed easement to the protected area, so I don't see any reason why they would have an objection.
I would concur with that as well, because really it's an enhancement of the easement on what's
It's just changed. It's changed now.
correct.
So-
But from the village's perspective, it's going to be a positive.
Right, I'm just wondering if they, because I just want to get them in the loop as well. 'Cause-
Yeah, the essential terms of the easement don't change at all. We won't be changing anything except we were removing an area that could have a residential structure, and we're adding an additional view shed easement that, you know, candidly benefits this village. I think it also benefits the land trust because it gives the village standing to enforce that view shed area, which has been, the best word I can use is a real annoyance to the village over the past 20 years because those trees are there. You've not had standing to enforce that. You now will. And, you know, that's nice for the land trust too, because if there's a violation of the easement in that area, the land trust doesn't have to hire a lawyer. You can do it. So I think that they'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to get them in the loop because I don't.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, if we get a conditional approval, which is what your engineer requests, that's going to be the first thing we have to do.
And also to trustee Bill's point, one of the conditions that we're going to put in is that we're going to require the easement be modified to the satisfaction of this board as well.
Questions?
What's happening with all the trees?
Trees have been removed, and so as the mayor just pointed out, they've been taken down. There is a stump there. So the mayor would like us to grind those stumps or at least get it down to grade so the village can mow the easement.
Right.
That's totally fine.
The rest of the trees farther out in the property are a crop. So I mean, we're not going to prohibit farming on it. It's preserved, so. But
I
the
thought
ones
maybe they
immediate
were planning to
adjacent
do
to the road.
something with them.
What?
I thought they were gonna do something.
Well, I
with them.
suspect they're probably trying to sell them at some point, yeah. Any public comments, questions about this? I mean, it's been kicking around since, I think, 2007?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
I was a
much.
DA back then, so I've matured yet.
Mayor, we'll have the engineer present his pre-application report too, if he has any comments, if he wants to run through it briefly.
Right, okay.
Do you want to close the public hearing first, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mr.
Hang around.
Thank you,
There may be
everybody.
some things you want to respond to.
Thank
So our oil engineer, firm, okay, you're gonna do a little presentation on your recommendations or as things, additional things on the subdivision?
Sure. Good afternoon, Mayor, trustees, and all. Nice to meet you virtually. Going to be working together with you going forward and looking forward to that. So, first time running through this. If if I could ask the level of detail that you want me to run through here. If you'd like me to skim through, add more detail, or cut back on the detail, let me know. Otherwise, I guess what you
Your recommendations, is that correct, Brian?
Correct.
Yeah, your recommendations are really what we're looking for. I mean, this has been kicked around for so many years that I
correct.
kind of know what's there and we can be your observations.
Correct. Okay. All right. So then I'm just skimming through to highlight some of the points. We talked about the Peconic Land Trust easement that we felt should be revised accordingly. The view shed conservation easement we touched on as well, needing that shown on the sketch plan. The calculations regarding the net lot area deductions that need to be revised or corrected for the various coastal erosion hazard boundaries. I see them, that's applicable to lots 1, 2, and 3. We'd like to see that corrected. Moving on it is recommended that the board require the Peconic Land Trust easement be revised and recorded to the satisfaction of the village attorney and the PLT prior to issuing final approval. The mandatory conditions of the ZBA decision are noted, strictly conditional. We are aware of that. The hedgerow is strictly prohibited from impeding the public view of the scenic vista. Open spaces. It is recommended with guidance from council that the Board of Trustees make a determination whether the ARA and conservation easements together constitute an appropriate open space. We make reference to a prior board approval back in 2020 that appears to have accepted the ARA and conservation easements as open space. However, reference is made to Code 190-2, definition of open space, particularly that accepted areas shall remain as described and not be eligible for use or improvement with a residential structure of any kind. Parkland, section 190-36B of the code. McLean respectfully recommends that the 5-acre parkland requirement be waived in consideration of the project scale and in accordance with 190-36B6, reference to no park fee for planned residential subdivisions. In terms of the fire code, we are recommending that the access road details, including hydrant locations, be developed and approved by the local fire department. And the next steps, the technical, okay. The ZBA condition fulfillment. We understand that there's a draft crossed access easement agreement that should be provided for the village attorney for review prior to recording with the county clerk. And it sounds like, if I heard correctly, it was a little difficult to hear, but it sounds like the good faith removals of the greenhouse and evergreens have occurred already. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's good. The updated agricultural data statement is provide as noted in the report to facilitate village notifications, and the technical corrections such as reconciling the area calculations seems the total area is slightly off from the sum of the individual areas. So we'll ask them to correct that. The net lot areas and the floor area calculations need to be revised, excluding flagpoles, common driveways, and seaward lands. And we're asking or recommending that they submit a sketch plan indicating the methods of drainage, sewerage, water supply for each lot. Submit an updated utility adequacy letter, and provide updated documentation from the PLT confirming support for the January 2026 plat. So that's a brief overview of the recommendations that are in the provided pre-application report. Is there anything you have questions on or want to dive into more?
Questions? Brian, you want to?
Yep, okay.
A few things?
Yep. Thank you, Ed. For the board's benefit, they're very familiar with this application. It's been around for a long time. There's a lot of history on this, both here in the Board of Trustees and in the courts. Again, Mr. Doyle tested, as he stated earlier, he's here as special master appointed by the Supreme Court. He is not an attorney for any of the parties. What's before the board just procedurally is just the approval of the pre-application report presented by our engineer. Once the pre-application report gets approved, there are the conditions that were outlined by Ed. Then it goes back to Mr. Doyle to adopt those pre-application conditions, update this plat, and then it gets submitted by Mr. Doyle back to this board for final subdivision approval. So this plat, which is dated for benefit of the record, is dated 1/12/2026, would be updated to a new date with all of those issues that were outlined in the pre-application report for a final plat for approval on a final subdivision. So tonight or this afternoon is just a motion to approve the pre-application report. A couple of points that I just want to point out. In addition to the engineering issues that were pointed out by our engineer, is the legal issues on open space requirements under Village Code Section 245-12. As the board looks at the agricultural reserve at the top of the map, that is the Taconic Land Trust conservation easement. This was originally recorded in 2007. It's very important to the village to have that agricultural easement in that reserve area. The enhancement is that viewshed conservation easement, as Trustee McMillan pointed out, of that 1.975 acres in the front. The issue for the board to decide, and my recommendation, is that whether that agricultural reserve area and conservation easement should count as open space in the subdivision. And my recommendation as council is that it should, because this subdivision now, counting as a total, now reserves 65% of the entire area as a conservation easement, meaning 28.28 acres by my calculation is now reserved out of 43.5% of the total, which, counting the required conservation easements of the entire other four lots, comes out to 65% of the total. And that math is set forth in the agricultural reserve note, if you look about 1/3 of the way up the page here. So the question before the board and the recommendation is that the agricultural reserve area and the conservation easements together would constitute appropriate open space. And I would recommend to the board that it does.
And if not,
If
we don't do it, then they need more open space.
Correct. And that would be, I would submit that would be excessive. Over 65% would be unprecedented.
No, it meets the definition of open space.
Correct. And the definition of open space is defined in 190-2, which has any area characterized by openness and public visual access, and that is what this is. And the applicant satisfies that with the viewshed conservation easement. The second question, same thing on parkland requirement. 190-36B requires parkland dedication of 5 acres per 100 dwelling units. In this case, the small scale of the subdivision, there are only 4 single-family units. The recommendation, both from the engineer and from the legal side, is the board consider waiving the parkland dedication requirement based on the excessive size of the agricultural reserve that is voluntarily set aside at the top. And also that the original dedication was from 2007, and 3 successive boards have already approved that dedication as well. So with those waivers and the engineering, the recommendation before the board is that the board accept the pre-application report as presented.
Are we missing any additional enhancements we should be doing on this to protect ourselves?
No, I would say that based on the prior map that was actually approved by prior boards, I would say this map is actually a significant improvement. Certainly along the Daniels Lane area, I would say that this map and along the Peters Pond Lane area of the prohibition of no access is a significant improvement from the village's perspective.
Do you have any questions or statements to make about it?
No, I don't. I reviewed the pre-application submittal by your engineer. I don't really have any objections to the things he or the village is asking for. I'll review them with Mr. Lombardi and have him interface with LK McLean. I don't think there'll be a problem.
Okay.
Right.
So what we're approving is pre-application, that will go back and then that we will see again as an application.
So we have another shot at the app here if we see any changes.
Correct. So the motion today is just to approve the pre-application report to allow Mr. Doyle to go back to amend this plat to come back on a final submission. There'll be a motion to approve the pre-application report.
I'll make a motion to
I'll
approve
second
the
it.
pre-application.
I'll second it. All in favor? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. You are free to
Thank
go.
you, Ed.
Very good. Thank you. Nice meeting you all. Take care.
Go ahead.
Next up is a resolution to grant an additional 90 days for the filing of the final plat for the proposed subdivision of the Meadowmere 3491 Montauk Highway. I'll make a motion to grant an additional 90 days.
I have one question. The notes at the bottom of is that his notes? Is that his writing on that?
I have no idea.
On the letter, yes.
Yes,
That's
that's all I
it.
want to know. That's
That's
it.
it.
So he's still engaged in conversation. That's all I want to know.
Yeah. No, I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. New business. We want to approve, once 7 minutes is ready to be approved, if people would like to, for the organizational meetings. Everybody get a chance to review them. Don't you sleep at night to read that? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the other one will be coming eventually.
Yes.
Police report.
Yep.
You want to do that? I mean,
Sure. Yeah, it goes quick.
Okay,
For the month of June, we had 19 abandoned 911 calls. Previously in May, there were only 7. Accidents with no personal injury, there were 2. Accidents with undetermined personal injury, 1. Accidents with personal injury, 1. Aided cases, 9. Burglary alarms, 11, which went down from May, which was 17. Carbon monoxide alarm, 1. Fire alarm, 16. 2 panic alarms, 21 ambulance calls, up from 8 in May. Animal complaint, dead deer, 2. A DV arrest, 1. Check the welfare, 1. Code enforcement, 1. Civil issues, 1. landlord tenant 1, fire brush 1, 2, building inspections, 1 tent inspection, 1 missing person juvenile, ordinance of noise 1, 3, let's see, 6 parking complaints, 3 reckless driver, 1 suspicious person, 2 suspicious vehicles, 70 traffic enforcements, 1 traffic hazard, 1 utility wire, 1 VIN verification. That's it.
Okay,
Anything else, Brody, on that?
We have a slew of new part-time officers filling the schedule, which is good.
Any oldies?
All youngies.
No, I mean, any old, people from before still?
The newest one, well, no, Jude is still here. But he's actually doesn't do it for the month of June. He he's in the courts this month.
Mhm.
He'll be back in August.
old business, parking at Sag Main Street, the post office and general store. We've had a lot of correspondence, which is very helpful. I enjoy reading it. We definitely have the whole Hamptons is overwhelmed, and we got it in Sagaponack now. I run into people and who work over there and live in East Hampton, and they tell me how they zigzag through Sagaponack and how it's hard to get by the store. And it's like, stay on the highway. We're inundated, and we were not consulted, and we don't have any say in it, but the post office kindly, I guess for money reasons, expanded the number of boxes by another 300 something.
350.
350, yeah, no, it's so most of the, we don't have 1,000 people in residences in Sagaponack, so these people come from outside Sagaponack to the post office. And as everybody knows, the Sag store reopening, they have a good business and they have good publicity, and so between the post office, the through traffic, people buying food and stopping and hanging out, we've got a nightmare. And what to do about it is an interesting project. Sidewalks. We're going to look into getting some kind of additional police presence there. I don't think, we don't have an appointment yet with the chief, do we?
No, I
We've
sent
asked
the
for
email
one,
out, but I
we
haven't
don't
gotten
yet.
it, right.
Yeah, see what we can get. And we pay additional money to get somebody in there because it's not it wouldn't be a wrestling act because everybody's worried about budget. I think in terms of safety, we need to do something like that. Board members want to chime in on this?
What if we just get rid of the 7 on the southwest and put a sidewalk there?
It's a possibility.
Are we getting an engineer to look at what needs to be done? So
Yeah, an engineer's going to mark the actual property line. From looking at old surveys, the edge of the pavement appears to be around the property. I hope that maybe there was room, a row of arborvitae there that we could use that area for a sidewalk, but I don't think that's possible. Once we find out exactly where that line is, and actually somebody else might want to get in on this if they're a friend of that neighbor, see if we could actually rent a strip of land there and put a sidewalk in. If not, maybe we have to change the parking in that area to get a sidewalk, because having people walk behind cars on the edge of the street is just, it happens all over the place, but it's much safer to have sidewalks so people can get out of the traffic.
What's the stipulation for amount of footage behind a car that's parked diagonally to the road?
No idea.
Is there one?
Well,
Is
first
there-
of all,
Stipulated.
Well, like,
So you're talking about the driving lane?
no, I'm talking about the diagonal parking
Right.
seems to be quite far west and it could be backed up a little, but I don't know if there needs to be certain footage between the road and the car that's parked, or if there are rules and
The problem is
regulations.
when you get a pickup truck, you know the guys with the full.
They can't park there, make it small cars.
I think at
Nobody
the,
listens.
I think at the end of the day, it's enforcement. So I think, enforcing some of the things that we have looked at,
We're gonna need more than one guy there.
obviously there's, obviously, safety is absolute tantamount, putting in sidewalks, you have to. Honestly, we're gonna have multiple accidents. We're lucky that we haven't had someone injured, There are two of us here who are on the ambulance and we see it. We see people getting something in Sag Harbor the other day where someone was hit. So sidewalks are sort of, we have to. Having enforcement and having someone who's actually gonna walk up and down and ticket people. Amy's sitting there saying that it's not working. You're right, it's not working. People are parking on the no parking.
Well, are
section.
they getting ticketed?
No.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think
Do
it's
we know they're not
enforcement.
getting ticketed?
So
Once in a blue moon.
I don't
It's
know.
not a blue moon.
so
Because it's all electronic.
it's sporadic at best,
But
the ticketing.
we
So-
don't have someone there.
Yeah, no, it's
Exactly.
sporadic. I've seen them once, not,
TCLs.
I go by it 3 or
Right.
4 times a day. That's it. So I thought we kind of, I agree with Mark. I think we need to look into a couple of things. One is the sidewalks to do. I think that's a necessity. So people aren't walking in front for safety. We do need we need to figure out what the cost and what the would be for additional TCOs for enforcement. I think both those things have to be something we need to look at pretty seriously.
And the other thing is looking or asking, working with the store to find out if there's more parking in the back. Is there a way for that to occur that we can help? So, and this comes from the input, particularly, behind the back left, who I thought had, it's great to complain, but, having solutions as well really help us.
Well, do we want more parking in the back? I thought the issue was too many cars,
Well, I
period,
think-
no matter where they were.
You're gonna have these cars in. To me, it's at this point, it's a place that people are coming. They're not gonna come down the road because there's no parking there. They're coming down the road anyway. So are they gonna then stop in front of the store waiting for a parking spot, which I've seen people do? Which, at the end of the day, that's not a solution either. So having more parking in the back where you're not fronting is something that we're supposed to have, giving them the opportunity. And it's not like another 100 spaces. No one's asking for that, but to me,
Well, I
you
think
have a
66
combination.
spaces is an awful lot.
But what reference do we have on any of these numbers? Is 66 good or 99 good or 18 good? I don't know.
Now, we're a little country, road,
But what's an optimum number to know?
50.
Why do you come up? with
I
that?
just
That's a
gonna say
random-
50.
a random number generator?
The village has some obligation
The
to
problem
provide.
is, we can't set up a driving school for these people that are parking there. They're terrible. They back across the highway no matter what we have done to try to make things safe and accommodate the people that are driving by without stopping. They're violating the laws, the vehicle and traffic laws every time they go through.
Which is enforcement.
And it's
So
nothing
which-
we can really do unless you want to set up a driving school somewhere.
Well,
And teach
there's
some of these
enforcement,
people
there's enforcement, additional.
Well, that's what we're
TCOs.
talking about.
Right, exactly.
We've already addressed that, right? I mean, we're trying to anyway.
Right.
50.
I like that number too.
No, my understanding is a lot of the employees are now parking over
Right, it looks like the limited space somewhere else.
Over-
Say it again, I didn't hear that.
the employees are not parking there anymore. They're moved down to a space, I believe, off the Foster's property. And not just
To
recently.
open up parking
Open up some
spaces in the back.
Can I say something you'd like to come up here?
Yeah, in a minute.
What's the? Okay.
Yeah, no, we'll get to.
Okay.
But there is an obligation on the part of the village to provide parking for the post office.
Yeah.
We don't have to, I mean, people from the store will use that, but the post office, by expanding the number of boxes, dumps something on us. You know, if you do the math and you calculate it, there's 1,000 people trying to get to a post office box. If they just come once a week, that starts to be a lot of visits. And the traditional parking for the post office was always on the street. I think if you eliminate it, it's an act of bad faith.
Eliminate it?
Eliminate parking on the street. Public parking.
Well, not
for a
all of it.
public person. Yeah, I know. Okay, I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
Because I've had people suggest to me, the safest thing is to have no parking on the street and traffic can get through and all parking is somewhere else.
Yeah.
But that, people will park there if it's no parking. They're doing it right now. So you can put up any sign you want and people just, a ticket is a matter of just doing business to them. So, and we need to, one thing we're gonna look at, we'll talk with the police chief and see what's available to us, which we will pay for, to get somebody there, you know, through the main part of the season. Whether we can get an actual police officer who has full authority to write tickets, order people around.
And a gun?
Well, yeah, or, you know, what exactly that they can pull out for us. I mean, there's not an unlimited number of police officers out there. But, you know, get focused on that during the main part of the season when there's tremendous problems. Okay. You mind if I open it up to the public?
I had another question.
Okay.
Back in the day, when I worked for Sagaponic Post Office, there was a sign, no loitering. And there was a lot of loitering going on near the post office. Is that a law, a rule, or what? Do we know?
I don't know if that would necessarily qualify as loitering when you're in, I think you're an invitee on that porch, actually.
Well, how about we take some of the seats out?
I don't know, I think that's private property, I don't know if we have the ability to do that.
I'm just looking for answers to slow things down, that's all.
Right. Yeah, there was an inquiry about fire marshal and that type of stuff, what seating might be available. But I think there was an explanation that that's something that we don't control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exterior. Exterior. Interior, yes.
Right, okay, and the seating is exterior, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Public speak?
Is there any other business before we open to the public of any significance that the public might want to?
Oh, well, I mean, this is a topic, let's, who wants to be
Continue.
first? Come on up to the podium.
Come on, Amy.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're going to introduce yourself, you're gonna give your name and your, where you live, okay? For the
Amy
record.
Sullivan, 535 Sag Main. I'm directly, as you know, across the street from the store. First of all, the 3 spaces of no parking, or 2 spaces right to my side, that we put with the no parking sign.
South of your driveway.
Correct. Useless. Completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Useless.
Pull that down so we can hear you.
Okay. And my feeling is that I'm very short, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My feeling is that the enforcement or lack thereof is wild. I've seen crazy stuff going on and police officers just driving right through it, not even blinking. So I think enforcement isn't. I don't think getting tickets is just a matter of nothing. I think it's an irritant, and I think people, if they get tickets, will think twice about doing that. It's an irritant. And that's all that we can probably provide as an irritant, but I think it's something. I couldn't get in yesterday because someone was parked across my driveway, waiting for someone to, you're right, the loitering is really something. The amount of people seems almost unsafe. It seems crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we spoke a few months ago and we hoped it wouldn't come to this, but it's very, very bad. And I think it's quite dangerous. I think something bad's gonna happen.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. But it, sort of fighting it by letting it go on.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine to plan to talk to people and talk to engineers and all that, but I think what we can do immediately, maybe, is get some enforcement, just something. I asked the kid who was working at the cross thing for Carrie, and I said, "What's going on? It's a mess. These guys are across my driveway." And he said, "Look, I'm from Nassau County. I don't know what. They just sent me here. I can't do anything." So that's what I'm getting from the enforcement. That's just silly.
I'll go down there and take care of it.
You would be better.
Yeah, I would.
You would be better. He was a nice kid. He just,
Was this a TCO or was this a officer?
it was not an officer, I
No.
don't believe.
With the TCO,
Yeah.
sometimes they look lost there.
But he was moving the cone and he was sort of trying to get traffic to go in and out. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He just couldn't do anything.
Well, it's a hard thing when people are doing what they want and not paying
I agree.
attention to you, yeah.
I agree.
He's not enforced.
He couldn't do anything.
He's not.
really.
Yeah.
So.
But he did say, "I'm from Nassau County, I don't know what the hell's going on." And
Right, which makes, but he's not enforced.
no, it's not. But I hope we can do something, but I really do. This is not funny anymore. If it ever was. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Liz Mann. I have a vocal disorder, so I'm not upset. That's just how I sound. I think I live in your old house, 110 Old Farm Road. And I go up and down Sagmain to go to the post office once a week. Those are my beaches, Sagmain. I buy pies from you. My neighbor is your cousin. It's a nightmare. There's a lot of the Hamptons that has become a nightmare. The train station downtown Sag Harbor. One of the things that downtown Sag Harbor does is, yes, they're 12-year-olds. They don't know what they're doing, but there's a lot of them. So could you get some tall people, the basketball team, the killer bees, multiple people that have a little height that are just, even if they're not cops who can write tickets, if they're constantly saying there's parking back here, you can't do this, you can't spin around, you can't hang out in Amy's driveway. And I really think Harry, what you said in the beginning, which is just getting rid of at least those, I don't know how many spots they are, 7 spots south, that would help, because that's where there's no sidewalk that continues.
Yeah.
But like our grandkids, like no way would we allow them to bike to the beach anymore. I haven't noticed in my trips, I haven't noticed that the parking lot is ever full. So I don't actually, in my experience, I haven't actually seen that the parking lot capacity is the issue.
It gets full.
It's that nobody wants to park in the parking lot. They all want to just park on Amy's lawn or loiter or double park or triple park or spin around. So I just think writing tickets is helpful, getting rid of that will be helpful, but also just like having a bunch of people, maybe even doing what you do at the train station, which is people can only get out of that parking lot, turning right, just some more has to be done, and those owners have to be held accountable because, and yes, money doesn't mean anything in the Hamptons anymore, apparently, but somebody will sue the crap out of them when somebody really gets hurt.
Henry Westberg, I've spoken on this topic before. I'm at 521 Sag Main, so I'm immediately north of Amy Sullivan, and have share in all her views. One thing that you noted, which I thought that maybe this summer would be better than last summer. I think it's actually worse. And just, you know, anecdotally, one thing that's happened now is repeatedly, people are parking in our driveway. You know, they come up my driveway and they park. It's, you know, mind boggling. But, so I have some suggestions, which I think can ameliorate this. I think we need the police to be there, et cetera, but to me, that's minor. First of all, as to just small point, as to the existing no parking spots, such as the one immediately south of Amy's lot, where her driveway, where she can't get out, and then there are 3 or 4 other painted no parking spots. Those need to be raised, they need to be curbed, and they need to have grass in them. They cannot be anything that somebody can readily mount. And just parking a white stripe is useless. In a letter I sent you recently, you know, in the course of 10 minutes, repeated different cars parking in those spots. They don't care. They look up and down the street. There's no policeman, and maybe they don't even care if there is a policeman. So those are, frankly, just totally useless. But that's, I think, a sort of small point. I think the bigger point is the parking on the street needs to be, I would like it to be eliminated completely. We probably can't do that because of the post office, but it needs to be substantially reduced to mimic or, you know, approximate the people who are in the post office. And notwithstanding the 300 new, and I go to the post office every day, notwithstanding the 300 new boxes, and you actually go into the post office, I don't think I've ever seen more than 2 or 3 other people. People come in, they go out, you know, it's fast, there may be in the course of the day a lot of volume, but there's never a line of more than 2 minutes in the post office. And I don't know what the number of cars are. My guess is it's 2 or 3 cars are post office traffic. And all the 60 to 100, other cars, are buying, lattes or whatever. So I think that the on-street parking should be greatly reduced, and that eliminates a lot of the problems. So what are the problems that we have with the on-street parking? We have rampant illegal parking, okay, that we've talked about dealing with that, but if you reduce the number of spots, you'll reduce that. Cars backing into oncoming traffic, which I think is probably the most dangerous thing with and it's the consequence. I guess it's a little better with the angled parking, but it's still a big problem. And what a lot of people do is they back up and then make a U-turn. So there's a huge knot of traffic there. And it's complicated by the fact that you have parking on both sides of the street. And the one accident I am aware of, nobody was injured, but where 2 cars made contact, was both guys were backing out at the same time. One on the east side, one on the west side. And I think where we should get to is parking on only one side of the street. So reduce number of spots and parking only on the east or only on the west and nowhere else. And that solves the post office problem, that solves the backing up problem, et cetera. The other problems that we have sort of in that strip is not only is the sidewalk problem is actually, I don't know what the history is, it's hard, it's confounding, but there used to be more sidewalk. And when those spots on the west side, which had been blocked out, were restored, about 20 or 30 feet of sidewalk was removed. So you used to be able to walk from north of the store to south of the store on the west side of the street on the sidewalk. And then that sidewalk was interrupted just at the front door of the store, basically. That sidewalk was drilled up and removed, and spots were put in its place. So we have sacrificed sidewalk for parking already. And there's other bad behavior, which I think is also the consequence of too many cars on the street, which is
Hi, it's Robert for Tracy.
There's honking, there's a lot of honking, there are car alarms, all the urban kind of car trauma that, I associate with my home in Brooklyn and not Saginaw. And, we need to be getting rid of those things. There's no, so far as I know, there are no other meaningful commercial establishments in Sagaponic that have on-street parking. The nursery on Sag Main, no on-street parking. The winery on Sagamore, no on-street parking. Loaves and Fishes, I think it's no on-street parking. I think that's their property. The golf course, somebody earlier referred to the Old Stove Pub. The barbecue place, all of those places have exclusively their own parking. They fund the parking. The village doesn't supply the parking for them. And I don't see why it should, other than, an minuscule amount for this operation either. So I think a major reduction limited to one side of the street for on-street parking, would be a major improvement. The other thing is the U-turns. I understand that that U-turns are not prohibited, even with a double line, and I might be wrong on this, but even with a double line, there's.
You're wrong.
I think it has to be signed. There has to be a no U-turn sign.
No, don't be yours.
Okay, well then, we've got, gross criminality going on here. I heard that you needed a sign as well. We don't have that. I was gonna suggest we add a sign, which you probably should do anyway. And then, of course, policing. And the other day, I saw a guy there, and I don't know what kind of cop he was, but guy in a uniform, and he was very diligently checking people's inspection stickers to make sure they were up to date. And I went up to him, I said, what about this? What about this? What about this? I'm sorry, I'm looking at inspection stickers right now. That is not what we need. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Michael Shine, 13 Maysfield Close in Sagaponack. I'd like to start by saying, love the concept of the general store. It adds a sense of community, got great food. I think it's a net asset to the community. I don't necessarily think the people that are sitting there are loitering. I think they're, enjoying their food and beverage, which, is something that is a positive. And I think they did a spectacular job renovating the place and enjoy it. That said, I think the traffic issues are indicative of a broader issue within Sagaponack itself. And that is the issue of enforcement of lots of very sensible rules and laws, and whether that's parking in front of the general store, whether that's parking at Gibson Beach, whether that is the rules about pets before 9 a.m., after 5 p.m., and only if it's on leash, which absolutely are not followed, is that there is no enforcement. People mentioned, I think appropriately so, Sag Harbor. They have a very visible enforcement presence, and whether the kid is 12 years old or it's a full-on police officer, if you try and make a U-turn in Sag Harbor, someone is yelling at you. If you try and turn and cross the double yellow line in Sag Harbor, someone is telling you to move, that you can't do it. If you stop your car and try and wait for a parking space and you're impeding the flow of traffic in Sag Harbor, someone comes over and tells you that you need to move it. And I think you can, unless you're going to prohibit all vehicles, which I'm not recommending, it ultimately gets down to having an enforcement strategy that is consistent. And to the extent that you believe that people will write off one ticket, then construct a set of rules that function similar to points, which is you get a first infraction and it's $100. You get a second infraction and it's $300. You get a third infraction and it's $1,000. And at some point you'll reach a point where it matters to people. But I don't think the traffic problem and it's significant because I'm trying to get to my house or get from my house, and we will get caught up in it unless you have consistent enforcement and people understand that they can't do it and there's a consequence for doing it. I don't think you're going to ultimately solve what that problem is. Are we allowed to speak on topics that don't relate to parking at the post office?
No, let's stick with that.
Okay, because as under the sidebar of following the rules, there were massive parties over 4th of July weekend that had parking snarl.
Well, we've got other people.
Yeah, we'll
Take a seat.
no
Take a seat.
no worries. I think
Sit down. sit down, please.
There's another opportunity at the end of the meeting. for
Yeah,
public
Thank you. I was
input.
going back to the general store, but I guess I made my point. Thank you.
Can I say something about?
Come on up, Joe.
I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. You had a lot of good comment, and I really, really appreciate the fact, Joe Lockheim, 509 Sag Main Street. I really appreciate the fact that you guys are tackling this and thinking about it in a constructive way. I think the nexus is TCL. Obviously, I think we've come to that conclusion, and the landscape.
We're gonna see if we can get more than that, but we'll find out what's available.
Yeah.
Traffic control
Traffic
officer.
control officer, just like they have in Sag Harbor and the other villages. And I think it's unfortunate. Most of us grew up here. We're now faced with the fact that things have changed in Sagaponack, and it's an uncomfortable position to have to be, oh my God, are we going to become Sag Harbor? Do we need all this? And I think the reality is, unfortunately, we kind of do now, and I don't like it any more than anyone else. You guys have people parking in your driveways. I have people using mine as a turnaround. ChatGPT says it would be criminal for me to put a board with nails on it, so I can't do that. But I may have to get a gate, you know, a gate. I'm not a gate person, but you got to do what you got to do. The one thing I do want to point out is the narrative that somehow these extra boxes at the SAG store are causing an influx of drivers at the store is just not true.
Well, it's a piece of
It is a piece of it, but when the general store was under previous management, before it was redeveloped and expanded, the post office, and this is right from Karen, they served 723 box holders and 237 general delivery customers for a total of 960 postal patrons at their peak. And at that time, there were fewer than 30 spaces serving both the store and the post office, and parking was never a problem. As of last week, the post office had 870 box holders and no general delivery customers. So in other words, the post office now serves roughly 10% fewer customers than it did before the expansion. And while the facility contains more boxes, the elimination of general delivery means the overall number of post office customers has gone down, not up. Meanwhile, the number of parking spaces is nearly doubled. Yet during peak periods, postal customers have difficulty finding an open spot. So the conclusion is pretty straightforward. The lack of available parking is not the result of an influx of post office customers. It's the result of an influx of general store customers. And adding parking on Main Street to try to serve postal customers, it's just going to be gobbled up by the store. It will just serve the commercial interests of the store, not the post office. The only solution is to have a handful of spots for parking, maybe three on one side, three on the other, with a 10-minute limit, and vigorously enforce it with no exceptions. That's it. It's the only way you're going to do it. And to some of the other points here, and I feel like you're finally coming to the same conclusion. It's not the village's responsibility to provide parking for every single person who wants to visit the SAG store, any more than it's your responsibility to provide unlimited parking for SAG Main Beach or Town Line Barbecue or any other commercial establishment you have. The store already enjoys village subsidized parking that no other commercial establishment here has. So, to expand that, I think is a really bad idea. I gave you a plan a year ago that recommended just eliminating parking on the west side. Maybe have a handicap or 2 spots that are just carved out for a post office. Everybody coming to the store comes from the north. That would just shunt. That would solve all your problems. Keep the parking on the east side and enforce limited parking for the post office.
Hey, Jeff, just a couple comments. I always appreciate your comments. They're very constructive. I will say one thing about the new post office boxes. I actually disagree a little bit with you that these additional boxes are people who don't come every day, I give you that, but they're coming every week and they're going home with multiple packages in their arms and actually tarps with packages. If you talk to Karen, she'll tell you that the package delivery and the mail delivery is almost quadrupled what it was before.
Okay.
And that's because of the new boxes that aren't really local people, some of them, to be honest, in the village, but they come in once, maybe twice a week and pick up all their packages. So that is still part of the problem.
Well, so then, all I know is Karen says there's never more than 3 people in there. And I know that you have
That's
800.
the point where they come,
You have
don't come in every day.
So I agree. Everyone's getting more Amazon food. So maybe you need a dozen post office parking spots. I don't know what the number is, but just adding parking on Main Street without enforcing postal limits is not going to solve any of this.
No, I just want to make a point about that.
I appreciate it.
Can you do that
Well,
just make the parking for postal persons?
Well, if it's
matter of enforcement.
Yeah, it's matter. I don't know that you can legally do it, but a 10-minute limit is a 10-minute limit. And you can still put signage that says post office parking, 10-minute limit, and send you tickets. You can probably do it with cameras that just snap a picture of the license plate, and if that same plate is there in 10 minutes, they get a ticket. Or you have a TCO do it. There are ways of solving this problem.
Hello?
Can we go together since we're in
Sure.
Hi there, Amy and Zoe Gutman with 709 Saguenay, surrounded by the Foster Farm. I also have people backing up in my driveway, which is driving my dogs crazy. I think the thing that disturbs us the most is that it's really scary crossing the street in front of the general store. I was crossing with my grandson, an Uber driver just went around another car like speeding. Cars are not even stopping when there's people waiting.
Were you in a crosswalk?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
I mean, I was walking on the street.
People don't pay attention.
And they go around, and I think,
You can't go with a child stroller. You can't walk on Saguenay.
yeah, we know, I mean, there's nothing really that much to add, but I think it's also crazy because it's right next to the school, so it's right next to the playground. So like, I used to walk my 2-year-old to the playground, but I can't really anymore because now I'm so scared to get past the store. And I know like 2 other people with little kids who used to always walk in front of they would like walk down Saguenay to beaches, and they don't walk anymore because they're too scared from the store. So I think that's crazy. I think just the person in front of me kind of said everything I was going to say. I was going to say, why can't you just make it 10-minute spots? And if you have someone that marking the tires, like Sag Harbor, you get caught for everything you do in your car. So I think bringing some of that would be good. I also think we were also going to say the cameras thing, because now you can catch everything, all the license plates on the camera. So that seems like it'd be really easy. And I agree that a lot of the type of people there might not care about like one ticket, but I think it would change their behavior. Like tickets do work relatively, and someone's not gonna wanna get like, these people are coming there multiple times a day, most days. Like they're not gonna get like 30 tickets in a week. Like it's not people who, it's like not really one-off people, it's a lot of the same people. And I also, the only other thing I was gonna say is the guy, the very nice looking young man who was the enforcement guy, like while I was trying to get past, I saw like 3 cars in front of your driveway, which is insane. The guy was just like watching them. Yeah. A guy was in that blue area next to your house, half in like those huge Escalades, I don't know, like Escalade or something. That was like, it was taking up like a third of that lane from the parking spot. So everyone had to go around, so then everyone was going around there. And I was like, someone's gonna get. And then I'm there with like the baby, and I'm like, where am I supposed to go? So I think I agree that it's just like a matter of time before.
Well, I do
especially
think
with the playground, that scares me so much.
Well, the second part changing. Cars go really fast. We have a bump in front of our house. Cars just go right over the bump. I mean, they're not even stopping for the bump. They have these huge Escalade, and there's so many Uber drivers inside the park. So anyway, thank you for hearing.
Beating a dead horse. That's all we had to add. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. But I think and I also think eliminating all the spots, what we were going to say too, on the side of the store, just is like a no-brainer. If they have 66 spots, they don't need 66, they can have 60. Like it just,
or 50.
It is an order.
Or 50.
it's an overlay of the, epidemic that the Hamptons is having of just overall bad and rude drivers, right? The only time growing up when a horn got honked is maybe when you went to pick up your friends. Now you go to Bridgehampton and 5 people honk at you just pulling out of the parking lot, which is insane. But it's everywhere now. You wouldn't think to drive around in someone's driveway, but it's happening.
We should park our cars at the end of the driveway, encourage people from coming in.
What do you think? Yeah. So it's a behavioral element that's changing as well. I think that's also happening as well.
Maybe we change ChatGPT and we allow the nails.
I was really, I have to say, I was very disappointed because that was.
Joe, I can affirm that, by the way. That is correct advice.
Anyone else to speak? Is there someone on Zoom? Brody, anything else?
Yes. My name, I'm Robert Nelson from 182 Erica's Lane. Am I able to speak? Am I on the agenda?
Yes.
Do you want to see him?
Yeah,
Can you
let's
put
see
your
him.
camera on?
Okay, sure. How's
Is
that?
it
Better?
Sag Store?
Better?
Sag Store parking, is that what you're speaking on?
No,
Okay, well, you have to wait till the end of the meeting.
I have to wait until after the meeting?
Yeah, later in the meeting. Anyone else to speak on parking at Sag Store? Okay. See if we can find the agenda. I appreciate your comments. And I wish somebody else was mayor.
Bill, I don't know if you just want to kind of summarize, but most of the comments had to do with enforcement.
Yeah,
And we don't have our own police department. We rely on the town of Southampton. And as Bill stated, the mayor stated earlier, we are have a meeting. We are scheduling a meeting with the chief to try and ask for that. We don't have control over it, unfortunately, like Sag Harbor does. Sag Harbor has their own police department. Sag Harbor can put 10 TCOs along Sag Main Street. So we're working on it.
I've been redoing your father's escapade, looking at our own police force, but the cost is just through the roof. I mean, what Joe Lockheim's father was mayor, and I was to a bunch of the hearings when they looked at getting our own police force, and the cost is just through the roof. Terribly complicated.
So you may have to pay the town a few more.
Well, that's what
bucks.
that's what we're looking at. We're trying to see
What we're
if
looking
there's
at,
some way,
Joe.
let them administer it so we don't have the overhead cost on it. And see if we can just, get a guy out there with a gun and a badge, even, whatever we can get.
Or just the gun.
Or with nails.
Okay, let's see. Assembly permit application, Taste of Sagapon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Here's the new.
Okay, the organization name is Sagaponic Farm Distillery. It's the farm tour, spirit sampling, and a light meal. The location of the property will be held at 730 Sag Main Street. It is August 22nd, which is, what is that, a Saturday? Anybody? I believe it is. Just double check.
Yes.
A Saturday, from 5 to 8. It's the Foster Family, benefactor of the event is the Foster Family Foundation of Sagaponic. Charge is $75. Percentage of the proceeds to the benefactor is 20%. It's a 30+ acre property. There's the farm and accessory barns. They expect 100 people and 10 to work it, so 110 altogether. It's a crop tour, spirit sampling, discussion about growing and producing spirits in Sagaponic, and a light meal. The number of vehicles expected is 50 to 70. No valet company. There will be, for parking, we will have someone directing parking. People will park on the wide verge between our farm field and Sag Main Street. There will be no security. Catering company is Terrence McGuire, the pizza truck. They have a dumpster on site. They will have county's headquarters is the company, a 2-stall trailer unit. It will be parked near a barn, near driveway to the barns behind the house. No police department. During daylight and largely casual gathering, an opportunity for people to see the farm and how it grows the spirits. Any questions?
No, I don't think we'll have a problem with it.
I make a motion to accept this permit.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then the next one is also hold on. Here we go. Okay, it's called Outstanding in the Field. Farm tour and dinner featuring the finest local produce at 730 Sag Main Street. Again, this is a Gloucester event. September 9th, 2026. I'm going to say that's a Saturday too. From 4 to 11.
No, that's Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday. I'm sorry. And guests leave around sundown, and then we have cleanup. The benefactor of the event is the Bridgehampton Child Care Center. They are charging $350 per person. There are 30+ acres. It's the farming in the barns. There'll be pop-up tents, 4 10x10s, 150 people, 25 to work it. That's 175 total. Farm reception, tour, and dinner is the description. The valet company, they manage their own team of valet.
Where's the parking? Where's the parking?
There's a dumpster on site, and the parking is on site in the same
Same
spot.
place? Okay.
Yeah, the field and Sag Main. It's very wide there. And the signs, 2 parking signs put up just before the event, immediately removed. We posted this group without incident 5 times. It's a great low impact. Any questions?
No, I'll make a motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution for Pat Remkus to be changed from full-time to part-time.
I'll make a motion.
Since you're needing to explain that.
Well, Pat Remkus has been working here,
18 years.
18 years. And she retired, but then to help out while we look for a replacement, she has agreed to come in part-time, take a little bit of the strain off of the other staff. Hiring through civil service can be kind of complicated and time-consuming. So this way it clears the position, so we have an open position, so we can request and work off this civil service sheet.
That's correct.
So do we need to approve that? Or
Yeah, we have to
okay, so I make a motion.
Yeah.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great, thank you. Lighting code is still kicking around. Were you able to find that photo? I mean, it really explains it, I think, but there was some question as to lumens and Kelvin, that type of thing. And the thought was that we have shielded lights in the parking lot, and some of the bulbs are out. They're kind of old fixtures, and we might update them and try as kind of a sampler, different levels of light quality and wattage.
Is this I'm sorry, so this is a working draft, this is new, I haven't seen this.
Yeah, so the working draft in your packet, the highlight is the changes, the bold is the changes, the strike through is the deletions. The concept that I'm proposing is the last one that says best. And essentially, it's that, it's just, instead of being scientific, it's the simple solution of just keep it shielded and keep it on your property. And it's the easiest solution to enforce. Instead of being, which better was not bad, but best as opposed to the automatic, 1 o'clock shut off, anything goes until 1 o'clock, and then we moved it forward to 11. Dark sky was well intentioned, but became kind of difficult to enforce. So I don't want to, we'll talk more about it if the board is ready to set a public hearing, we can set it the next or the ahead of time, but the concept was just to keep it shielded, keep it down, and keep it on your property line. And also we reduced the Kelvin so that the light is essentially a warm light as opposed to a surgery table.
And it was moved from 1 to 11, is still up for.
Now the time is actually any time as long as it's shielded and down on your
So
property.
it can be, is 3 o'clock in the morning, it can be
As long as it's shielded and down.
down.
Yep, so you wanna keep your porch light on, as long as it complies with best, and it's on your walkway or porch, yes.
Does this address uplighting and trees?
It doesn't really allow uplighting of trees.
Okay. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, it's a working draft.
We'll come back to this, and I mean, personally, I think it would be interesting if you're gonna mention Kelvin. I mean, I've seen, somewhere there was a gas station which had the downlighting, but it also had a very soft light, and I felt like I was falling asleep trying to get into the place. It was just too dark.
Yeah.
And so, where does it fall actually? Anyway, it'll definitely be an improvement over what's happening now.
So that's the concept.
Right. We put it on the agenda next time, then?
Yeah.
Talk about it?
Sure.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Right.
Schedule for a public hearing, or?
Well, I think we need to talk about what we want.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, great. Yeah, we're gonna have a discussion on it at the next meeting.
Sure. Financials, we'll do financials quick. Is that okay, Roddy? Next up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Make a motion to expend from the general fund the amount of $58,982.94. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to expend from the tree fund the amount of $8,810. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to expend from the planning trust and agency account the amount of nothing. Okay, you don't need.
I'll second.
Okay. And then the capital highway fund, make a motion to expend the amount of $12,573.75. Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, next meeting date is August 19th, 3 p.m. Now, any additional comments people would like to speak? Mark?
Hi, my name is Meryl Sherman. I live at 707 Daniels
Ah.
Lane. What was the Anyway, my complaint has been an ongoing thing. It's the intersection of Sagmain and Hedges. And now with the general store, it has exacerbated that intersection. My request is to make it, along with the one that's just north of that on Fairfield and Parsonage and Sagmain, is to make it a simple T. The quaintness of the Y from covered wagons or whatever that made that road the way it is, that's adorable, it's wonderful. But the number of cars in Sagaponack and the speeds, and now with the traffic at the general store, it makes it totally unsafe. The stop sign has moved a couple of times to try and find the right location. And every year I have at least 2 or 3 near misses of getting hit, whether it's in a car or on a bicycle. It needs to be a simple T. The way it is currently, if you're coming south on Sagmain and there's a car coming west on on Hedges, that car wants to make a left-hand turn and head down. They don't see you, and I'm already coming in there, and I've nearly gotten hit on multiple occasions, year after year, and now it's just impossible. A simple T is the safest thing. If you were to look on the websites for the DOT, they don't make roads in a Y anymore for a reason. In addition to that, cars are bigger, you look over your shoulder, you really can't see. If you're in an intersection that's a simple T, you can see what's to the right, you can see what's to the left. You can't see what's just behind you. And I would greatly appreciate, and I think everyone would appreciate, having that. It can't cost that much to change that intersection and get rid of the.
But it's gonna be ugly.
It's not gonna be ugly.
Yes, it is. It's too wide. They're gonna have to have the stop sign in the middle of the road. They're gonna
It's
have
not
to
in
have
the middle of the road.
stanchions.
It's
And I
not.
think it's a cute thing for Sagaponic, even though it is a safety
It's a
issue.
safety
Everything in
hazard.
Sagaponic is a safety issue, period.
Well, but this is a very big safety issue.
Well, they're
And
all
it doesn't-
big.
It doesn't have to be wide. It can be, you can narrow the road and make it the width of a regular road. You have one stop sign here at the end of the road like you would anywhere else. You have a stop sign where it is now heading south and where it is now heading north. In addition to that, the poor people that are trying to come north on Sag Main, they start coming in. But since the people that are heading south on Sag Main are much closer to turning left, they don't bother waiting, even though it was the people from the southbound. Am I making that clear? Okay. Have the right of way. The people that are heading east, just cut them off.
I like the triangles.
The triangle is sweet, way beyond sweet when it comes to the number of cars that are here. That's my complaint.
Thank you. Thank you. Any comments from the board? Barry doesn't like it.
We still have, the gentleman on Zoom,
Oh,
and this
Mr.
gentleman
Nelson.
here is getting
Right.
up. Oh, okay, got another one
Come
there
on.
too, Bill. Hang on, you're not finished
I
yet.
won't beat up on you.
It's okay. I appreciate what you guys are doing and trying to keep the charm of Sagaponic. We've been here for almost 30 years and
So you're a new arrival.
very much enjoy it. Yes, by some standards, I guess we are.
Just introduce yourself.
Michael Shine from 13 Macefield
Thank you.
Close. I just really had a question. We saw over 4th of July weekend a significant number of large parties, particularly on Fairfield Pond Road. I understand one from reading the Post was a club from New York City that rented it, and I was trying to understand how they get a permit to have a party. They took over the entire street and they had some security. Someone stopped one of my family members, threatened, they said they were off-duty police, don't know if that's true or not, threatened to extract them from the car because he was trying to get through the street, hit his horn to let them know that they were there. And this is a great comment. The guy said, you're in a residential neighborhood. Meanwhile, the music was blasting at decibels that you probably could have heard it in East Hampton. So not sure how folks get a permit to do something like that, whether they need one or whether that's something that
They get a permit and then they ignore what they're allowed to do.
So that then becomes an
Yeah.
enforcement issue. Okay. My time is up. I appreciate your listening, but all in favor of enforcement, even if it costs more tax dollars to do it, it would make it safer for everyone.
Yeah, so just one sidebar comment. We're very much aware of what went on there. There was incredibly bad behavior. There was a lot of violations from everything from the beach and everything else. And there actually is I don't know, what do you would call it?
Active case.
An active case on July 22nd. You're welcome to go because there's a lot of things that were misused and inappropriate during for that party.
The one on the beach or the one?
The one on the beach.
Oh, got it. With the
And
equipment.
the one down on Fairfield.
So we can say there is an active case pending that's coming in justice court. There'll be additional charges for the one on the beach. The one in Fairfield Pond, that is definitely a case where 911 should have been called because any interference with you in the street, regardless of who is pretending to be law enforcement or otherwise, can't interfere with you on the road. So that is definitely someone to be called 911. Parties don't necessarily, private parties, house parties, do not necessarily need to get a permit only under a certain size from the village, right? So you can have security or otherwise, but they can't come out into the street and interfere with you. if they do, that's a 911 issue to call police at all times.
They clearly were, you know, in the street and directing traffic. Are
That's-
they allowed
that's-
to rent
that's-
their
What
house
street
for
was
a
this?
weekend? It was right on Fairfield Pond.
Oh,
Lane.
They were
Yeah.
allowed to park on the
That's way out of bounds.
north side of Daniels Lane and the east side of Fairfield Pond Lane. That's where they were supposed to park the guest vehicle. But that's all they were supposed to do.
Right.
They're not
And
supposed to be
unfortunately,
taking over
they
the
did a lot
public
more.
streets.
They actually used Gibson Lane with unauthorized vehicles. They did a whole bunch of things. So
They put a road in on the
there,
beach.
it's a,
The road in on the beach and they left their construction
Yeah.
equipment there.
Yeah.
for
Somebody
several
stole a
days.
key, so they
But-
couldn't get it
not
out.
only that, the Piping Plover community is all upset about it as well. So,
Trustee tickets.
yeah, trustee, so there's a lot going on there. We're aware of it.
Great,
We're very
great to hear.
saddened by the whole thing.
Yeah, totally out of bounds. So appreciate your time and what you guys are trying to do about it, supportive of in any way we can.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry it even happened.
We got somebody on.
And we have Robert Nielsen still on Zoom. Mr. Nielsen, did you want to speak?
Yes, thank you. Robert Nelson, 182 Erica's Lane. I have been calling the office for, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years now, with respect to the cell tower. Wondering when we're going to have cell service up and running in Sagaponack. As I think everybody on this board knows, by reason of the cell tower being installed, there's absolutely zero service on the beach. In case of an emergency, I have zero service at my house. My Wi-Fi service is poor from the cable company. So I'm just wondering, now that the cell tower has been up for a couple of years, I'm just wondering why cell service has not been established with all of the carriers and when it will be.
Who's your carrier? Do you want me to?
T-Mobile?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so here's the situation, Mr. Nielsen. Yes, you are correct. You and I have spoken many times. The Verizon is the one who commissioned the tower. They are on the top of the tower. AT&T is the second carrier that came on. They are on the tower. The third carrier that the company told us that they were in negotiations with was T-Mobile, which is what Cablevision is the carrier for Cablevision. If you have Optimum for your cell carrier, that's T-Mobile. T-Mobile is not on the tower yet. However, we also have in the works from Verizon and from T-Mobile micro towers that they are proposing to put in throughout the village, which would help you. However, it's a process. They will probably not be back before the board until the fall. I'm guessing they're working on it. As far as the T-Mobile being on the cell tower, that is what is being negotiated out through the Homeland Towers who installed the towers. The village doesn't get involved in those negotiations at all. So that's the update on cell tower coverage in the village.
Okay, I mean, you said AT&T has service now, right?
AT&T is on the tower, yes.
Right. So my wife has AT&T, and whenever we're even closest to the tower, we still have no service.
I do. I have AT&T, and I am fairly close to this tower. So I don't know the reason for that.
I have Verizon, it's not on.
You found it.
Yeah, but it's not. I'm still on LTE, right?
So I have AT&T and I'm on Hedges. I'm right in front of you on Hedges, America Lane, and I have AT&T and I have 5G service now from AT&T.
And,
I had none.
And you have full coverage over there?
I do. I had none before.
Okay. Maybe it's a setting on her phone that I need to do, but I appreciate the board listening to me, and I appreciate the information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on Zoom?
Nope.
I don't think we have any other business.
I wanted to comment on something.
Sure.
I noticed in the calendar, there are a couple more parties at Gibson Beach.
Yes.
One in July on the 16th. It was the small contained fire, and then Ivina party, Gibson Lane, at 10. Is that on the beach?
Iovino is actually not on the beach.
Okay.
That's when the
Okay, but this one is on the beach.
That's correct, that's
And it's a
tomorrow.
small deal.
Correct.
Okay, are we gonna
So-
pay attention to that or?
Well, those are not really our problem so far. Those, as you recall, maybe 2 years ago, or more than that, when we started to get parties down there, but we were not regulating them, the board instructed me to do a permit just for Gibson. So I do that. Anything under 49, if you pay somebody to do anything for you for a party at Gibson, you have to pull a permit. If you have want to have a bonfire, or we don't allow bonfires, but small contained fires at a fire pit, you also have to get a permit from us to do that as well.
Are we gonna still allow things to go on down at Gibson Beach?
That's up to you.
I don't think we should.
Well, that's a classic thing, as long as it's not a small scale party, it's
Sorry.
okay.
I was gonna bring that up myself. I noticed the Iovino party, that's the last house on the right, which I'm sure they're gonna need parking along Gibson Lane.
No, they're gonna be parked in a Crestview,
Where in Crestview?
up on the south side of Crestview.
On the field side.
Right, on the field side. That one also is using the White's field to park. I think they're parking their staff over there.
Okay, because I was gonna suggest we make sure that our top is aware and keep people parking.
I do send this, and I just sent the July calendar off to the Sergeant Bose, so that I asked them to provide a few of the Charlie 48 cars, so they're aware of what's going on in the village. They also get a parking waiver list that I give parking waivers for, and I tell them if they're not on this list and they're parked where they shouldn't be, just give a ticket.
And they're gonna be on,
Meeting.
they're gonna be on Crestview for that.
Correct.
At your meeting, you can,
Oh, yeah.
push the fact that that's happening and send the cops down.
And I,
There's no tent involved at Iovino's, though, right? On the beach.
it's not on the beach.
It's not on the beach.
But they are having a tent. They do have tent permits. They have two
But
tents.
it's not gonna be on Gibson Beach itself.
No, it's on the property. Yeah,
This other one on the 16th is on the beach.
that one is definitely on the beach. And that one is for
July
10
16th.
people. I think it's for 10 people.
Oh, okay.
So 10 people on the beach, we wanna.
No?
No, they're
I didn't
paying
say
somebody,
that.
it's being catered.
That's tomorrow.
So
Yeah.
they are paying somebody.
So, right, they should.
If somebody's making money off of public property, then they need to be
Of course.
permitted. to do so.
That's
That's
understood.
how I do it. So. Okay.
And just to follow up, we're gonna go through our new group application process and fine tune it and.
For Gibson
Actually,
Beach.
for
What
any-
I'm doing, what I did with the debacle down at One Fairfield is they got an assembly permit. Somebody shows me a survey, the survey has the property line out to the mean high water, which includes the beach. So instead of doing a special event permit, I was doing an assembly permit, which doesn't require as much information as a special event because the special event is on public property. So I have now shifted to not do an assembly permit, but to make them put in a special event permit, which requires more information.
Right, such as all the vendors and everything as well.
Yeah, I just had a inquiry today about one down at 81 Potato Lane on the beach. So that is the type of permit that they are going to put in. You will see that because of course they want it for August 9th, which is between your meetings.
But we spoke about this, or I spoke to trustee Miller about this. Again, having the actual permits, great that they sign and all that other sort of stuff.
Enforcement.
But the enforcement, but to me, you have to have some ability, which involves our legal at the bottom, basically saying, if you don't comply, then it's gonna cost you a lot of money.
I would say the example from the last party,
Yes.
a lot is a relative word.
Well, but I think, but again, we can debate what a lot is in this world. And that last party, of course, is, multi-million-dollar party when it comes to that, and whatever that number of, but it can't be.
Can we
I
also
think
make
that-
vendors liable too?
But I think looking at the actual document that they sign, there can be something there that gives us some recourse as well.
I agree.
From either a monetary perspective or a legal perspective or through.
Whether it has
Jail.
real legal standing, I don't know, but we need to make it so we can also have the vendors accountable. They know that they can potentially be in trouble, they're less likely to do something in bad behavior form.
It's I don't want to get specific with that party only because that's a pending active case in front of the justice court. With the there are issues with regard to identity and disclosure of vendors. And maybe not whether they get disclosed by the host. So sometimes vendors don't necessarily get disclosed by the host on who they're using, such as sound systems, such as stage setup, such as caterers, all those people such as
Lighting,
security,
sound,
right?
all that
those
stuff.
things that go into it. They may not necessarily be disclosed on or known about when they make the application a month, 2 months ahead of time. So we have to figure out where that fits in and how we do it.
Just having an event planner doesn't work.
I think we're beyond that.
Have it listed, right? We have the caterer listed, but we don't have the vendors
So
for the
that
lighting.
to me is my point,
Yeah.
is that we should do the actual, at some point, the actual application itself to include other things that there is, and I'm not saying that we need to know, the guy who's putting, the lights on the turtle in the front yard, but some sort of recourse that.
Well, do we get to a point where we start to require perhaps bonding on these things? Require posting bond.
That's
great.
Yeah, and then, it's gonna catch everybody though, because it's gonna get the beach parties that turn into these enormous clubs. But it's also gonna get the retirement party that gets 200 people in the backyard.
I think bonding's great.
So.
If we could do that.
Yeah.
I agree, is that, if, to your point, that if you have a multi-million-dollar party and you have a big bond, you'll get it back, but.
Right.
You won't.
Yep.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.